Hi all, so today I'm going to be discussing my advocacy map, and the topic that I am focusing on is childcare, currently in the US, specifically Maine, and what that looks like right now for families, specifically families with lower income. And I want to really focus on the disproportionate statistics on how women are staying out of the workforce due to the troubles of not obtaining proper childcare and the limited options out there. So I kind of broke it down into different categories, and I found this exercise to be especially helpful for my kind of topic particularly. I'm sure it'll be helpful for everyone, but my desired outcomes are at different levels. So I really appreciate how it was in different levels, from the short-term outcomes, medium to long-term. I've personally never had to do medium term outcomes before, so I was kind of stuck on it, but here we go. So the first section I did was just child care centers in general. Just from like the research I've been doing and so forth, I'm really learning how facilities aren't really being regulated, and how only too little bit, and how there's privatization going on through it. So I really think that there needs to be more of a cleaner system, just from my research so far, just about how facilities are using way too much of citizens' paychecks to pay for monthly childcare fees. So sometimes that is the reason why people are staying home and not working and taking care of their children, or bringing them to places that aren't as safe, just given the costs and the inability to pay the bills. So that's one of my main concerns. So I put that up top, and of course my first order of business, I guess you would say, is to just really focus on what is happening with COVID, making sure that staff shortages are being taken care of, just so that just to make sure that there's a staff and that they're being paid affordably. So you want to make sure that there is also equality there within the facilities for child care centers. So that's kind of my long-term outcome as well, is just that the child care facilities are adequate, not just for families and children, but the centers themselves with the employees. So I guess that kind of goes to my next section, where I'm talking about social workers. I thought it'd be really helpful to merge social workers into this topic, because they're the ones that are constantly advocating for families that are not represented enough, whether it may be same-sex parents, or maybe parents that, or caregivers that are foster parents. But a huge thing that I want to focus on as social workers is just advocating for women who are taken out of the workforce, given their demands to be caregivers for their children. And that's typically how it's been going, is that women have been staying home for their children. So just being able to recognize that in the one-on-one clinician setting, but also in nonprofit settings, that would be really important for social workers to understand. So that would be tasks, just being able to also receive and distribute additional resources to families that are not sure with what to do in terms of childcare at these times. So just making sure that they're aware of the Child Care Act, and just helping maybe other families get inspired to advocate for their own passions on childcare and what would benefit them and their peers in the community. So my next section, I wonder how I can scroll down. Okay, good. I'll scroll aside here. My next section would, obviously I've been touching upon this point a little bit, it's just women caregivers and bringing awareness to the additional labor women put into caregiving. So that's kind of why my larger goal is just making sure that we are ensuring that we have a society where all genders are acknowledged for their caregiving. So I think that's kind of what they say about free labor. Women and caregivers in the family unit aren't necessarily acknowledged for the work and time that they do. It's not like a business job where you have a fixed retirement plan and you have a wage. This is free labor, and they're not getting compensated for their time. So I think that's huge in terms of our ultimate social justice outcome as a society, just making sure that there is fairness, whether it may be caregiving for a younger one or elder care as well, which I can definitely see this going into that category. But I'm trying really hard to streamline this process. I don't want to get carried away. I tend to do that. So lastly, I wanted to go into, of course, government involvement and policies with childcare, and just making sure that lower income families have the ability to obtain safe, adequate childcare spaces for their families, just because that should not put them behind. A huge mission I want out of this section is just making sure that our government sees childcare as an equal to healthcare. So these stages in terms of researching options, like would it be best to give stipends? I was doing some more research and reading a new article that was posted a couple days ago from New York Times just on cash aid and how it really helped families through the pandemic when they were giving stipends for each child. For the 6 months, how much it helped families feel less stressed, and the research that's already been done and studies is quite impressive. So I'm looking forward to adding that, and maybe adding that to my longer term goals here. But just to make sure that we as a society and as a government in our social system are able to support families and not let childcare be a factor when trying to decide whether to put food on the table or jobs. So I think it's really important to promote social justice and ensure that parents, especially of young children, are able to properly tend to their young ones, because this is a huge developmental time. So that is my map so far, but I'm glad this is the rough draft, and I look forward to working on it some more with you all. And any feedback, any references, greatly appreciated. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.